In an earlier video, I repaired an ATX power supply, and in this one I'll show you how to convert it into a benchtop power supply. So let's give me a second. There. Now that's better. So let's jump into the table and get started. Start off by unscrewing all the screws and get into the guts of PSU, ATX or whatever unit. Now carefully remove the cluster of wires. You don't want to break any one of them, and also make sure that you are not pulling any wire from the board. You'll have to cut the zip tie as well if you face any difficulty. Once you are done with removing the wires, grab a pair of scissors and start cutting the excess wire. Now, that will take some time. So once you are done, start separating the wires according to their color. Now there will be some random wires, but we'll figure out how to connect them later. Now once you are done with grouping them, you are supposed to strip them, and I'm sure that you'll become a professional stripper by the time you strip your last wire. While repairing, I had bypassed the minus 12 volt protection circuit, and so I won't be using the minus 12 volt rail. So I just got my scissors and snip off the blue wire. Later I desoldered it from the board as well. To stabilize the power supply, I added a dummy load of 12 ohms on the 5 volt rail because I didn't wanted a lot of power from the 5 volt rail. But you might want to use your 12 volt rail. In that case, you'll have to consider the choice of resistance once again. I soldered the 12 ohm resistance to the 5 volt rail, and then I cut the excess leads. Twist all the red wires and then use a generous amount of solder to keep them in place. This chart will help you figure out different functions of all the different wires in a standard PSU. Solder the green wire and a black wire to the switch and make sure that you don't overheat the switch. Save 2 black wires because you'll need them to connect to the LEDs afterwards. Solder the pink wire to the cluster of red wires. Solder a 1.8 kΩ resistance to the anode of a red LED. Solder the purple wire and ground to the LED as shown. Solder the green LED to the grey wire and ground as shown. Use a lot of solder to solder all the orange and brown wires and all the yellow wires. Use heat shrink or electrical tape for insulation. Then start mounting your banana plugs. Again, use a lot of solder to solder the 5 volt, 3.3 volt and 12 volt rails to the respective banana plugs. Epoxy the LEDs in place. Epoxy the resistor and close it all up. I took the body of a micro SD card reader and scrapped all the markings on it. After that, I got a hole into it so that I could mount my switch. Following that, I used lot of epoxy so that the switch mounting is perfect on the body of our benchtop power supply. And it's done. Now you can power all the electronics that you want irrespective of what power they consume, because I guess 100 watts of power is something too much for a hobby project. Thank you for watching, and hit the like button if you really like the video, and hit the subscribe button if you want to be notified about further videos.